What's up, man? I want to talk about NBA and player movement, and it's been a whole lot of stuff going down with the Anthony Davis situation. He wanna essentially move on from the New Orleans Pelicans, and go to a winner, a contender. Most notably, he probably want to end up with LA, right? So it's been a lot of backlash, but uh, it's twofold to this. It's two things that's going on with this whole situation about the player movement in it. I think the NBA has some culpability in this too. I just think the NBA has too many teams. I believe the NBA need to get rid of 10 teams. Now, what those 10 teams are going to entail? Now, I have 10 teams I have in mind that the NBA should get rid of, but you know, um, I don't make those decisions, but I am going to say the 10 teams I think the NBA should get rid of. Are going to be some cities that are going to be, upset about, what I'm saying about, their franchise or their NBA team. And it's just the NBA just need to consolidate because the NBA, a lot of these players, a lot of these players they want to win, especially when they get to their second contract, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But when they essentially get to their second contract, and they're around about what 24, 20, 25. Now what I'm saying, they kind of thinking about their legacy. They thinking about winning. They thinking about winning championships, going deep in the playoffs, competing on the big stage. And a lot of these teams, let's just face it, man. A lot of these teams are never going to win or be a serious contender for a title. Like, really. Now, I'm going to name some teams which I think the NBA should get rid of. The first team is the Nets. Yeah, New York. New York is a big city, but the Nets are not gonna overthrow the New York Knicks. Let's just be honest, man. Consolidate the Nets into the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And they can have and they can compete and play in the playoffs. But it doesn't make any sense to have another team in New York. It just doesn't. I know people are like, well, they got a population. They can. No, man, it doesn't make any sense because the New York Knicks have a long-standing tradition in New York. They have won a couple of championships. They have, Walt Clyde Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley. They got, a lot of these guys that have played there and are essential to the state and the city. And just the New Jersey Nets, they just don't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? So get rid of the New Jersey Nets, man. That's one of the teams. The Charlotte Hornets. I like Michael Jordan. I was about to say Michael Jackson. I like Michael Jordan. Respect Michael Jordan as a basketball player. I'm from Chicago. He played in Chicago, made his legacy in Chicago. But the Hornets, yes, back in the day with Alonzo Mourning and Grandma Ma, what's my guy Larry Johnson. They had some good teams back in the day. Kendall Gill, Dale Curry, Steph Curry father, but they never really back then contend for a title. And yes, they won a couple playoff series here and there. I remember when they beat Boston. Lonzo Mourning hit the game-winning shot, but they have never been a serious contender. They've been around for long enough to at least by now at least played in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't believe they haven't played in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of the Hornets. That's two teams. What's another team, man? Atlanta Falcons. They don't really have a good crowd. Yeah, Dominique back in the day ran the show, and yeah, it was a nice thing back then. I believe they got to the second round of the playoffs. Maybe I don't think he ever played in the NBA in the Eastern Conference Finals, but you know what I'm saying. They had some success with Dominique. You know what I'm saying. But later on with the Al Horford and you know what I'm saying, the team that they had, but they never really was a contender either. You know what I'm saying? Never really was a contender. And Atlanta, they fans are fickle. You know what I'm saying? They really don't support the team. Even when the team is winning, they don't pack in that stadium. You know what I'm saying? Even the Atlanta Falcons have a hard time getting their stadium packed in most nights, even when they're winning. So Atlanta is a place where a lot of people come from different cities and conjugate there and live there and move there for the atmosphere of Atlanta. But you know what I'm saying? That's another team I get rid of. I consolidate that team. What's another team I consolidate? Washington Wizards, man. I consolidate that team too. You know what I'm saying? And Orlando Magic. You know what I'm saying? Washington Wizards, they haven't really done anything. Well, I think the Washington Wizards maybe won a title back in the day. I think they won a title. I'm not sure. I don't ever remember Washington Wizards ever being they used to be called the Washington Bullets back in the day when I used to look at basketball, but I never remember Washington Bullets or Washington Wizards ever contending for a title. You know what I'm saying? They Chris Webber and Juwan Howard was there. They got to the playoffs a couple times, played the Bulls, got knocked out. But that's another team. You can consolidate the Washington Wizards, man. It's just some of these teams is just consolidate some of these teams, man. Orlando Magic, you know what I'm saying? Yes, Orlando Magic back in the day did get to the NBA Finals with Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway, Dennis Scott. You know, a lot of those guys. My guy from Chicago, Nick Anderson. Yes, they got to the NBA Finals. Yes, they played in the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of times. They played against the Bulls. So, yes, they did do good back then. But since then, and they haven't done anything. Yes, they had. I mean, yeah, they did go to the NBA Finals with Howard there. Yes, they did. I have to give them that. They did. And that was like 2012, I think, 11 or 12. They played the Lakers and lost to the Lakers. But the Orlando Magic, man, they, unless they hit big in the lottery, you know what I'm saying, they really don't do anything. No, they don't attract no free agents. A lot of these teams right here I'm talking about don't attract free agents. Like, free agents is not going to go. Like, if a free agent go to New York, they're not going to go to the New Jersey Nets. They're going to go to the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? The Hornets is not going to get no free agents there. Even with Michael Jordan at the helm, Michael Jordan been on that team for like the last 10 years or so. They still haven't got big-time free agents there. Atlanta Hawks, no big-time free agents. The Washington Wizards, no big-time free agents. I'm about to say the Pistons, but yeah, the Pistons do have a history of they got a couple titles back-to-back in the 80s with Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and Dennis Rodman, Lambeer. You know what I'm saying? Microwave, Vinnie Johnson, Mark Aguirre from Chicago. So they do have some history of winning, but of late, they have not been doing anything. You know what I'm saying? But if I say that, the same rules probably will apply to the Bulls. Even though the Bulls did have a resurgence after Michael Jordan, the 6 titles, they had a resurgence with Derrick Rose. But the Pistons, I'm on a. You can keep the Pistons because the Pistons do have a, you know what I'm saying? And they got a decent team right now. They got Blake Griffin, they got Drummond. They should make the playoffs. It's just some of these teams, man. Let me go out west. Okay, I was about to say the Kings. Get rid of the Kings. The Pelicans. Get rid of the Pelicans. The Grizzlies. Get rid of the Grizzlies. The Suns. Get rid of the Suns. Yes, the Suns did play in the Western Conference Finals a couple times. Where Charles Barkley was there. They had Charles. You know what I'm saying? They had Cedric Sabalas. They had your boy Dan Marley, you know what I'm saying? Thunder Dan Marley. They had the point guard. What's his name? I always forget him, but I'll remember his name in a minute here. But they had some good teams, some good players back in the day. Yes, they did have a little bit of a winning culture in that little opening right there. But Phoenix Suns of late have been an abysmal ever since. Well, they did have a resurgence with Steve Nash. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, a lot of those guys that they had on that team with Mike D'Antoni and the system that he's running in Houston was a system he was running then. Yes, they did have some success, but of late, Phoenix, no. They're not going to get no big-time free agents either. So it's some teams on here, man, you can just get rid of and consolidate these teams. If you consolidate some of this talent, they can you can essentially have. If you consolidate 10 teams, that'll leave you with what? That'll leave you with like 20. I think it's 32 teams. That'll leave you with like 22 teams. Consolidate that talent from those 2 teams. on some of the teams that need the talent. You know what I'm saying? Some of the teams that don't need the talent, those players don't go to those teams. But the teams that need the talent, put one player here, one player there. That'll make a difference between these guys being able to compete with other teams, and go from there, man. You know what I'm saying? And just let it build from there, because it's just too many teams in the NBA right now. They just have too. They expanded too far. I think beyond their means. I understand, yeah, they did it because of money reasons. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Orlando Magic came in. I remember when Memphis they were called the something Grizzlies at first. I remember when Toronto came in. I remember when the Miami Heat came in. I remember when all these teams came in. And yes, it was for money purposes. It was for greed, but I think it has hurt as far as teams being able to be close to an even playing field. Now, all these teams are not going to be at an even playing field, you know what I'm saying? But you can have it to where the fan base has some type of energy about themselves to say, maybe we have a chance. You know what I'm saying? If this and this go right for us, we have a chance. You know what I'm saying? But now, with all these guys kind of trying to consolidate on like 5 or 6 teams, and only 5 or 6 cities have destinations that these players want to go to, you're going to have a watered down league. Now, I know people say, well, the NBA is built off of super teams. Yes, the NBA has been built off of super teams throughout its history. But cities had at least 1 or 2 players on their teams that were synonymized with that city, and they were considered at least all-stars. Like, in Indiana, you had Reggie Miller. He was taking the Pacers to the playoffs every year. The fan base thought they had a chance. They was going to the playoffs every year. They just thought one day they'd break through. They did break through. You know what I'm saying? And play the Lakers in the NBA Finals. You had Dominique, like I said, Dominique in Atlanta. You had Charles Barkley in Philadelphia before he went to Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? You had I ain't gonna say Michael Jordan. You had Patrick Ewing in New York. You know what I'm saying? So you had players that was dispersed. You had Stockton and Malone in Utah. You know what I'm saying? You had Akeem Olajuwon with Houston. You know what I'm saying? You had all these players sprinkled around. You had David Robinson with the Spurs, and they was taking their teams to the playoffs, and they fan base thought they had a chance to at least win the title as long as they was in the game. See, the fans have to believe that they're in the game. It's a lot of fan bases like right now. Atlanta, they not in the game. You know what I'm saying? Orlando Magic, not in the game. Phoenix Suns, not in the game. You know what I'm saying? Sacramento Kings, not in the game. They have to feel like they're in the game at least, that they have a chance, some daylight. You know what I'm saying? So if you consolidate these teams, man, it will give these teams a little bit more firepower that needs it, and give their fan base a chance to feel like the door is open because they're going to the playoffs every year. And now I want to talk about the player movement. And my thing is this with the player movement. I have no problem with the players moving when you're a free agent. Now, under some circumstances, I don't have no problem with you probably asking for a trade, you know what I'm saying, before your contract is over. But this cannot be a precedent. Like, the NBA has to step in, because you having these players, like, when you sign your rookie deal, like, everybody look, let's put everything on the table. When these rookies sign a rookie deal, they're like, what, 19, because they coming in young. They're like 18, 19 years old. That's like a 4-year plus 1 deal. It's 4 years plus a team option. So if you work out, and I mean, if the team likes how you're playing, you know what I'm saying, the 4 years that you're there, they have a team option to you know what I'm saying, sign you for that team option. So it's like 4 years plus 1. So it's like 5 years. You're going to essentially spend 5 years with a franchise. Anybody within that top 10 or that lottery that gets chosen in the lottery, up in that you know what I'm saying, that number between one I think lottery is 1 through 15. So a team has it, because usually when you're in the lottery, when the team is in the lottery, unless they trade a player and they got somebody else lottery pick and they're a good team and they was able to acquire some lottery picks, essentially you're gonna go to a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna go to a bad situation. So the player has to understand that yes, I'm in this bad situation right now. They have to hope that a team build around them. Now, a team 5 years is enough time for you to see if that organization is moving towards a winning proposition, a winning attitude, or the arrow is pointing up. So you have 5 years to see that. Once that 5 years, once it start getting to like 3, 4, and 5, once it start getting like year 3, year 4, and you see that the organization is not moving towards progress, become a free agent and just go to a winning situation. Instead of doing this is what a lot of players are doing. They're signing that second, or sometimes they signing an extension because a team come with them with a lot of money and say, sign a 2 or 3 year extension, I'll give you this much. And players are accepting that. So to me, once you accept that extension and that money, that 3 year or 2 year extension, whatever it is, you have to play out that contract, because you seen within that first 4 years that they were not building a winner. Like, I'm not picking on Anthony Davis, but we're gonna take Anthony Davis for for example. When Anthony Davis went to the Pelicans, the New Orleans Pelicans, they were not winning anything really before he got there, and then while he was there, they were not winning anything. I think Anthony Davis' first 4 years, he didn't even go to the playoffs. So he should have known right then and there that the arrow was not pointing up. Why would you sign it? And I believe Anthony Davis signed an extension. So why would you sign an extension or another contract period for a team that was not moving, the arrow was not pointing up? Now that you're a little bit more mature and I think he's 2 years into that extension or whatever, or that second contract that he signed, now you want out. When you could have been out. You could have been out from under the Pelicans 2 years ago. Anthony Davis did not have to play another day for them after that 4 years plus 1. I think it's 4 years plus 1 or 3 years plus 2. Whatever it is. He didn't have to play past that 5 year mark. He could have left. Now, everybody got pity for Anthony Davis, saying, oh, he's spending all his prime there. No, he chose to spend the last couple years there because he didn't have to sign an extension. He could have said, I want to be a free agent because this team arrow is not pointing up. I want to go to another team. And he could have done that. That's why I don't feel sorry for players that sign extensions with bad organizations. If you were a bad organization and you signed an extension, that's on you. That was your choice, because you the one was out there playing hard as you can play, working out hard as you can work out in the summer to continuously go to a bad team on your first rookie deal. Now, I'm not giving you no flack for your first rookie deal, because that's your first rookie deal. You know what I'm saying? I don't know any player that forced himself out. I don't know how many players. I don't even know if there's any players that force themselves out of their rookie deal. So players usually don't do that. They usually play their whole rookie deal. So once Anthony Davis' rookie deal was up, he should have made himself he should have just been a free agent, not signed the extension. See, that's why I don't feel sorry for him. And people have to realize that he made the choice to stay with the Pelicans past his rookie deal, his original rookie deal, which he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have felt loyalty to a team that did not show loyalty to him as far as putting a team around him, a winning team. Because the New Orleans Pelicans did not put a winning team around Anthony Davis. They didn't start putting players around Anthony Davis until like last year, when they got Mirotic and they got Boogie Cousins, and they were able to go to the playoffs. Well, they went to the playoffs, I think, before that, a couple years before that. But to go to the playoffs, they got and they got Rondo. The reason why they did that is because they knew that Anthony Davis was going to be a free agent in another 2 years, and they wanted Anthony Davis to sign with them again. So they showed a little progress. But Anthony Davis should have seen it right on the wall. He should have did this essentially. Oh, I understand that y'all start building around me right now, but it's a little bit too late. That was a little bit too late to build around you. They took 6 years to build around you. 6 years to bring some prominent players in there to help you. They didn't worry about year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 to bring players in there when you were in your first rookie deal. No, they waited until after you signed that extension. Then they waited another year. Then they started playing players around you, because they knew the contract was going to come up again another 2 years. That's why I don't feel sorry for Anthony Davis. I don't feel sorry for any player that goes to a bad team. Yeah, I mean, look, when you get drafted by a team, you just get drafted by a team. There's no, You can't do anything about it. But when things get into your control, which is that second contract, if you sign a second contract with a bad team, I don't feel sorry for you if you want to try to get out that contract a year later or 2 years later. That's what essentially what Anthony Davis is doing. You know what I'm saying? He made a bad decision by signing that second contract. He should have left. No, I don't want to hear Kevin Garnett telling Anthony Davis, you're staying too long. No, Kevin Garnett, he wanted to sign that extension. Just like Kevin Garnett did the same thing with the Minnesota Timberwolves. But the Minnesota Timberwolves were on the uptick because they had Stephon Marbury. They had some other little pieces around them that, yes, they could have won probably eventually. The Minnesota Timberwolves had hit it good 2 times in the lottery. They got Stephon Marbury 1 year, and I believe the next year or 2 years later they were able to get Kevin Garnett because they were still bad. So yes, they did. They hit the lottery and they hit 2 good players in the lottery. But after Stephon Marbury left, Garnett signed an extension. He signed I believe it was like a $90 million extension with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the team was not that good. And Garnett signed the extension knowing that the team was not that good. Now, his greatness was able to get them into a couple playoff appearances, but they were never going to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? They were never going to. The Minnesota Timberwolves was unable to get players around Kevin Garnett. And then people felt sorry for him when he was like in his 10th year or 9th year, and man, Kevin Garnett is wasting all his prime in Minnesota. They not know because Kevin Garnett chose the money. He chose. I don't fault him for choosing the money, but he understood when he signed that contract, he was not going to have the best of both worlds. He chose to sign the extension with Minnesota Timberwolves. He chose that. No, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for any player that does that. You only sign the extension because just like the player is on a probation with that team, with that rookie deal, you should be putting that team, then that organization on probation, far as putting players around you and showing that this organization the arrow is pointing up. If the arrow is not pointing up, if you want to choose the money, then choose the money and don't cry about winning later. If you want to win and still get paid, but not get paid as much, then choose the free agent route and go wherever you want to go, wherever a team will take you. I'm pretty sure Anthony Davis would have his pick of the litter of any team if he was a free agent 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure he would have had his pick of the litter. Teams that could have fit him under the salary cap. And even teams that couldn't fit him under the salary cap, they would have found a way to do it. They probably would have went into the luxury tax to get a talent like generational talent like Anthony Davis. But Anthony Davis didn't do that. Either he chose the money or he felt loyalty to the Pelicans. If he felt loyalty to the Pelicans, that was a bad judgment on his part. Now he wants to get out of the contract. There was a bad judgment on his part because the Pelicans showed you that they were not going to put anything around you of significance. They were incapable of doing it. Either they was incapable of doing it or they just didn't want to do it. And you still signed with them. That was your decision. That was Anthony Davis' decision. Now he's crying. Now he wants to get out from that bad contract that he signed. It's a bad contract in the sense that he's not going to win with the Pelicans in the next 2 years of any significant winning. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, the NBA need to consolidate these teams. It's like 10 teams that they can take out the NBA. The cities will be mad. We know that. But like in Miami, in Miami, Florida, it's 2 teams there. You got the Miami Heat and you got the Magic. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, in New York, you got 2 teams. So you could take away from one of those teams, y'all still have a team. I understand places like Phoenix, places like Atlanta that don't have 2 basketball teams. It just sucks for them. But you got to consolidate some of this talent, man. And I believe the NBA will be better if you consolidate some of this talent. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what teams y'all will consolidate, and let me know what y'all think about that whole rookie signing the second deal, being with a bad team and knowing that they're on a bad team and knowing that they're not winning. You know what I'm saying? Because when Anthony Davis signed that extension, he had only went to the playoffs one time the whole time he was there with the Pelicans. And the other times he didn't even sniff the playoffs. That, you know what I'm saying? And he didn't really have a lot of players around him the first time he went to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, I don't feel sorry for a player that signs another contract with a bad organization. If you choose the money, God bless. Look, that's what you want. You choose the money, that's good. That's security for your life. I mean, for life, for your family, for your kids. But you can't come back 2 years later and start crying about winning. When you had a chance, winning, the proposition of winning was in the palm of your hands. You had a chance to go to a winning organization, and you chose to stay with an organization that was not winning. It was not